The objective of the lesson is to be able to distinguish comparison of absolute value from statements about order. In a previous lesson, we learned how to compare and order rational numbers. We found that numbers to the right on a number line are greater than numbers to the left. We also learned about absolute value. Absolute value is the distance a number is from zero. We will use these concepts as we learn the difference between comparisons of absolute value and order. When we are asked to compare two numbers, such as -15 and -23, we can place them on a number line to see that -15 is greater than -23. This is because -15 is to the right of -23. When we are asked to compare two absolute values, such as the absolute value of 45 and the absolute value of -62, we must first determine which value is further from zero. We can see that the absolute value of 45 is less than the absolute value of -62. When we are working with word problems, we must determine whether we are being asked to compare the number's actual values or their absolute values. Consider this problem. Gabriella was asked to compare and order the numbers -1009 and -886. After she had thought about the question, she determined that -1009 is greater than -886 and reasoned that it was because -1009 is further from zero. Do you agree with Gabriella? Why or why not? Gabriella's thinking is incorrect. Absolute value is not an indicator of order when working with negative numbers. When working with negative numbers, a number with a larger absolute value is less than a negative number with a smaller absolute value. This can be shown on a number line. Consider this next problem. At the end of the stock market day, the stock A had a loss of 32.30 points and the stock B had a gain of 21.72 points. Which stock had a greater change? Explain your reasoning. This problem is different from the previous problem in that we are being asked to compare the numbers based upon their distance from zero or their absolute value rather than their actual value. We find then that stock A had a greater change because the absolute value of -32.30 is greater than the absolute value of 21.72. Our objective in this lesson was to distinguish a comparison of absolute value from statements about order. We met this objective by determining the difference between comparisons of absolute value and order.